He had been running for hours. He didn't know where he was, how far he had run, or what direction he was truly going in. He just knew that in the darkness of this dead forest, he was running away from the last sounds he had heard from his pursuers. This forest was not truly a forest anymore. The tall, spire-like trunks of trees stretched above the ghostly fog that clung to the ground around the height of his shin. The eerie moonlight cast a sickly glow across the forest floor, turning what little light he had a gloomy green as the creeping death reflected the moonlight. This reflected light would normally have been a boon when trying to run from pursuers in the night, but the air was thick and choked his lungs. He could barely run a mile or so before having to rest for gasping breaths, as the creeping death's effects on the air threatened to burn his throat and wring his lungs empty of breath. The eerie gloom's sickly glow blended with the shadows, and while it gave him a few feet of extra visibility in the night, it did little to belay the terror of the things in the shadows and the fear of the unknown beyond his field of vision in this skeletal, carcass-like forest. A twig snapping behind him sent him into flight once more. Hurried steps crunched the blackened dead wood as he ran into the night with no sense of direction, his only compulsion to keep some distance between him and the things at his back. He was nearing the edge of a clearing. The eerie gloom cast a distant tower in a foreboding shadow. The tower stretched up from the horizon like a monument to the horrors of this damned world. Thunder struck overhead, and within seconds a downpour began. As he ran, the rain dampened the coiling, serpent-like movements of the creeping death, and the air felt slightly easier to breathe, but his lungs burned with the effort of keeping up his fleeing pace. Reach the tower was all he could think as he ran. It would have defensible stairways, maybe even weapons, hopefully food. The distant tower was dark, no campfires lit the windows or the surrounding area. It may be his only safe haven for miles. The forest leading to the tower was thinning, a sure sign he was getting near, as the defenders of a watchtower like this wouldn't want thick woodland obscuring Archer's fire. A snapping branch behind him caught his attention, and he span just in time to see something large swing out of the darkness to strike him, and he blacked out. As he started to wake, his head throbbed. His arms were bound and he couldn't move. His vision was blurry. He opened his eyes, groggy. He couldn't speak, and even if he could, the horrors of what he saw as he opened his eyes stunned him to silence. He had been dragged into a small chamber of what was probably the tower he had been chased to. This whole night, this whole pursuit had been one carefully planned trap to exhaust his energy, drain the fight from him and drive him here. This charnel house was like the storeroom of a depraved butcher. Body parts, some still wearing armour, hung on drying lines to cure. A body sat upright within a barrel of salt in the corner of the room, and blood coated almost every wall. This whole place stank of meat and the rot of death. In the centre of the room, a great pot sat boiling, and across from him sat one of them. A man staring at him with sunken, bloodshot eyes, peering into his soul with a gaze that told of a hungry finality to this encounter. He spat out his gag and was about to attempt to make some form of plea for his life, but the man had crossed the room before he'd even taken a breath, and cold steel slit his throat as he coughed blood and rasped. His vision going black, the man lifted him and threw him into the boiling pot. This is how it ended. Caught, outsmarted, and food for the eaters.